Hi, today I would like to talk about something I've been thinking about recently. It's this idea of shadowing as a technique in language learning. Now, I've mentioned the shadowing quite a few times in previous videos, and I've often recommended it in one form or another, but I realized something. We probably need to be a little bit more precise about what we actually mean when we say shadowing, because the term is used in quite a few different ways and that can create confusion. So strictly speaking, shadowing is when you listen to a speech and you repeat what they say almost simultaneously. So you're following the speech in real time essentially. It's fast, continuous, and it's quite heavy from the point of view of cognitive load. And the idea is that you train things like rhythm, intonation, fluency, and other things like that. So it's not just pronunciation in isolation, it's more about handling real-time speech. So now one of the main criticisms of shadowing is the cognitive load, because you are listening and speaking at the same time, your attention is split. So in practice, you don't really have time to think about what you are saying. You don't really monitor your own pronunciation properly. You're just trying to keep up with the speaker. Shadowing is very dependent on your level. If you are a beginner or lower intermediate learner, shadowing can easily become something like parroting sounds, because you repeat, but you might not fully understand the sentence. You're not really aware of your output. Everything happens too fast to reflect. In that case, I don't think it's the most effective technique. However, I think shadowing works quite well if you are already at a more advanced level and you are comfortable with the speed of speech and the material is low enough to follow, because then it becomes less about decoding language and more about refining performance. So you are working on fluency, timing, pronunciation under pressure, and automatic speech production. So one thing that is often misunderstood is how shadowing actually affects pronunciation. Yes, shadowing does help with accent and pronunciation, but in a more general way. It helps you internalize rhythm, stress patterns, intonation, the overall flow of the language. So it trains your mouth to move more naturally at speed, but it's less effective for detailed conscious correction, because everything happens in real time. You don't really get the time to stop, analyze, or adjust specific sounds unless you pause. In this case, it's not shadowing anymore, it's something else. So shadowing is more like flow training rather than precision training. Now, what I personally tend to do is like different, and I think this is where the confusion often comes in, because what I do is not really strict shadowing, it's more like deliberate imitation or listen and repeat practice. This is sometimes called echoing or delayed repetition. How does it work in practice? The way I do it is quite simple. I listen to a sentence or a short phrase, then I focus on how it sounds, pronunciation, rhythm, intonation, then I repeat it and I compare what I'm producing with the native model. Sometimes I repeat the same sentence several times before moving on, so it's very chunk-based, not continuous speech, not fast reaction, more controlled repetition. The key difference is that this gives you time to actually hear your own pronunciation clearly, compare it with the model, correct yourself, focus on articulation, notice details in sound and rhythm, think about meaning, and even memorize the sentence. So I see this as two different tools. Shadowing is fast, real-time, continuous, high cognitive load, focused on fluency and flow, while deliberate imitation is slower, chunk-based, repetitive, reflective, focused on accuracy and awareness. And finally, it's not really whether shadowing is good or not, it's about when and how you use it. Because if you are a beginner or you are still building the foundation in the language, in your target language, a slower approach like deliberate imitation is often more productive. But if you already have a solid base and you want to push fluency and automaticity, you want to work on rhythm and intonation to sound more natural, to sound more native, shadowing can be very effective. So in the end, it's not about choosing one technique over the other, it's about matching the technique to your level and your goal in your target language. Thank you for watching this video until the end. Please let me know in the comments if you use these techniques, either shadowing or deliberate imitation, in one form or another. I'm curious to know what you think. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.